Good afternoon, and thank you for joining us. I am Ladina Bolton, your Super District 7 Commissioner and Chair of Employee Relations and Public Safety. Also serving on this ERPS committee with me are Commissioners Nicole Messiah of District 3 and Commissioner Marita Davis-Johnson of District 5. Commissioner Nicole Messiah is joining us virtually, so you may not see her up here, but you will hear her voice later in the meeting. Also joining us is Super District 6 Commissioner Ted Terry. So at this time, we're going to go ahead and jump into our meeting. We do have a presentation that we'll get into later. Yep, with the Momentum Firm. So starting with the minutes, item 2026-0420, which are the February 17th minutes. Had committee members had an opportunity to review those?
Yes.
Do we have a motion?
I make a motion that the minutes of February the 17th, 0420 be approved.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Wonderful. Thank you, Commissioner. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Item 2026-0483. These are the minutes for the March 3rd ERPS meeting. Had commissioners had an opportunity to review those minutes?
Yes, I make a motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. We're going to come back to the healthcare benefits item. So turn with me to page 2, item 2026-0281, all commission districts. This is a cooperative agreement, Sourcewell contract number 10424-BKN, firefighting PPE and related equipment cleaning for use by the Department of Fire Rescue. This request seeks to ratify purchase order number 505-8768 for the purchase of 65 tri-certified Viking Shield gear to be used by firefighters throughout the county, awarded to Viking Life Saving Equipment America, Inc., care of Central Alabama Training Solutions, or CATS, amount not to exceed $110,000, $110,175. Do we have anyone to speak to this item? Anyone from fire? Hey, Chief.
Hey, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
So this ratification is for turnout gear. Well, it's not turnout gear. This is more lightweight gear. It's used for when we're in extreme heat, where we don't need typical structural firefighting gear. It does help a lot with the heat exhaustion and things of that nature, but it still gives us protection from things such as bloodborne pathogens. The reason for the ratification is because there was a price increase on the gear.
Thank you for that, sir. Any questions or comments from committee members? Commissioner Davis-Johnson?
Yeah, I have a question. Why is it listed as a cooperative agreement? But it's really a ratification.
Yes.
Hi, Commissioners. I can answer that. Initially, the agenda item was drafted as a cooperative. We were asking to make the purchase for the first time. In between all of that is when we learned that the pricing was going to go up, and the vendor was willing to allow us to use the lower pricing if we committed. So we put in the PO so that the user department could actually get the lower pricing. It's a statewide contract, so we wanted to keep the savings. After December 31, it was going up by probably about $10,000, a little over $10,000.
December 31 this year?
Of 2025.
2025.
Yes.
So it's a cooperative and a ratification.
Yes. The initial submission, it was just supposed to be a cooperative, but we wanted to make sure we had the cost savings.
Okay, I'm good.
Commissioner Messiah, did you have anything?
No, Madam Chair, thank you.
Okay. Commissioner Terry? No? All right. Seeing no other questions or comments from commissioners, do we have a motion?
I make a motion that we approve 260281.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Congratulations, sir.
Thank you.
We are going to move to item 2026-0555, Commission Districts 5 and 7. This is an intergovernmental agreement between the City of Stonecrest, Georgia, and DeKalb County for land exchange. Okay, and what is that land exchange?
So this is for the construction of Fire Station 14. This area that we've picked, it gives us a very good strategic location just for response in that area.
Okay, and considering that it does say exchange, we're giving them a parcel. Are we giving them a parcel in exchange for that land, or is the fire station a part of that agreement?
The fire station is a part of that agreement.
Okay. Any other questions or comments from, you have something for us, County Attorney?
I just want to support our chief. He did a fine job explaining what this is for. If you guys have any questions, I'm just here to support him.
Thank you, sir. Any other questions or comments from committee members?
Yes, just briefly, Madam Chair, if I may, I'm just, excited about this taking place. I know we've heard from some community folks that may have been misinformed about what we actually have, when and how, but I'm always thankful when we, pour additional resources and invest even further in being able to provide, safety measures for our constituents, for our community, particularly this being in my committee members, other committee members' districts. I'm glad to see it, and so support it wholeheartedly.
Thank you, Commissioner, and I believe Commissioner Davis Johnson has something as well.
And thank you, Commissioner Messiah, for making that point, because I didn't make that point. I just want to make sure that everyone in the 5th District and in Stonecrest understand what, Chief, tell them once more, what we getting?
So this is Fire Station 14. It'll be a newly built station.
Newly built station in Stonecrest in District 5.
Yes.
And when is that expected to be completed?
I don't have a completion date, ma'am. Maybe from the time that we break ground, 1.5 to 2 years.
Okay, well, I see Chris coming up. I just have to emphasize this because there's so many people in the Stonecrest District 5 area saying we do not have a fire station and we don't have one on the books. But this is the first of 2 that is in District 5. Isn't that correct?
We have, yes, we have 14s, which will be a new build, and then Fire Station 27, which is a splash project.
Okay, and everybody here hear that. So we can dispute it when they come in and say we don't have a fire station. Chris, when are we?
I was just going to add, so as Director Fulham said, Station 27, the bids are under evaluation. We'll have an announcement on that very shortly. So that's just north of Stonecrest, Lithonia area. 14, as the Chief said, is we're replacing the old one on the park property about a mile away. We'll start the design, so it's probably 3 years out to opening.
Okay. And is that Pleasantdale, is that gonna, is that one replacing Pleasantdale?
Pleasantdale one's a brand new one that'll help relieve some of the intergovernmental
Yeah, and that's
agreements you
gonna
have with
be
the-
on the corner of Wesley Chapel.
No, the Fire Station 16 is at Wesley Chapel in
Okay.
I-20 area.
Okay.
That's also,
Well, good.
we got the bids for that too.
Okay, but all joking aside, I'm very happy about that. I'm sure that the constituents of District 5 and Stonecrest are excited about it as well, so thank you.
Thank you all.
And before you step away, because the address isn't noted in the agenda item, it does say 2 acres, and it gives the parcel number, but for those who are watching or may review later, can you reiterate where it will be located?
I understand this fire station is going to go at the intersection of Covington Highway and Hillville. Correct. In front of the park.
Any other questions or comments from commissioners? Commissioner Terry?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Yes, so it looks like we're swapping 6589 Covington Highways. That's land that we own, correct? And internet's going kind of slow, so I can't exactly
Back in the day, you
the nature of that.
bought 80 acres to build a park, you only use 79 plus or minus. The city of Stonecrest was created. They took over the park. This 1 acre plus or minus is rented. So we're just swapping some property.
Okay, so they'll probably add that to the park?
Exactly.
Gotcha. Okay, thank you.
I didn't hear your question, Commissioner. Can you?
Oh, just what we were swapping?
Okay.
And it sounds like it's just the remnants of a park. What's the name of the park?
It used to be called Southeast Soccer Softball. I think just called Southeast Complex.
Southeast.
Okay. Okay, gotcha. And I believe at one point, Chief Fulham, when you were Chief, Director Fulham, Chief Carter, there was a map of sort of all of the SPLOST 1 and I think SPLOST 2 fire station sort of expansions. Is that something you could like kind of re-up to us? Just 'cause I think that was an important point is like, you know, this is SPLOST 1, there's more in SPLOST, like the money's there. It just, I remember at one point you said like, as we get the land, like that's sort of the prioritization. So obviously this isn't very important because without the land you can't expand it. But I think just having that visual of here's where all parts of the county will be sort of seeing expansion of new fire stations.
Yes, sir. And way back when I was fire chief, there was that map. Create some distance. But I believe on the SPLOST site, we still have the map that shows those station locations. And as you mentioned, Commissioner, it did outlay the possibilities if we were to reach those 35 stations that we've talked about. Yes, sir. And then it also included moving, in this case, this is moving a existing fire station, moving it west, and we showed that as well on that map. Yeah.
All right. If there are no other questions or comments from commissioners, do we have a motion for this item?
I am proud to make a motion that item 260218 be approved. Oh,
And
I'm
I am
sorry.
happy to second
Wait a minute,
the
wait a minute.
next
I'm sorry.
fire station.
That was the wrong one. Let me put my glasses on. I'm proud to make a motion that 260555 be approved.
Congratulations and happy to second.
All right. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All right. Congratulations to the fire department and the community. We are getting us a new fire station.
Thank you all.
Thank you, sir. All right, so we're going to move to item 2026-0218. This item comes out of districts 5 and 7, but it impacts all commission districts. This is a resolution to establish regulatory oversight of blasting operations in DeKalb County through the adoption of a control blasting and safety ordinance to promote public safety, environmental protection, and community stability, and for other purposes. And I understand that some of the recommendations that you guys made have been updated. But I did want to ask the law department for some support. This was originally drafted to be a separate blasting ordinance, but to our understanding, there is a section in the charter that already includes a little bit of information that this could be attached to. So if you can provide some guidance, County Attorney, on whether or how we can attach this to Article 1, Section 12-2, or, hold on, amending Section 12-8, excuse me, or if it should read separately.
We will review that, Commissioner, and make sure that it properly reflects the appropriate placement within the code. We've just received this, and we'll go over it for you. But I hope that wouldn't delay the committee's consideration of it. The substance should not change. That's just about placement in the code.
Okay. And since the recommendations that you guys made and the updates that we subsequently, through the support of Mr. Allen, have made, had you guys had an opportunity to see those adjustments and determine whether the language is satisfactory?
So the only thing that I would say that we would need to have further look at would be the fees.
Okay.
When we talked about the fees and looking at the fee study, we did have 2 line items as far as what the fees would be. But again, that's going through the fee studies that we're doing. So those haven't been formally adopted. So that would be the one portion from our recommendations that I would say would still need more time and consideration and approval.
Okay. And how much time do you think you guys would need to work through that?
So we've made our recommendations for the fees already, so it's just a matter of now of those being formally accepted and adopted, if so.
Okay.
Yes. If you like those, I mean, on average, on the annual, we've done 700 blastings per year, with the fees being 200. The recommendation, I should say, was $293.70 for the permit and $53.49 for the on-site permit. That's an average annual cost of $207,646.
Okay, I was trying to write it. Can
I'm
you
sorry.
start over and slow down? All I have is 293 and a decimal. I didn't even get the cents.
70 cents. That would be for the permit.
Okay.
And then another on-site cost of $53.49.
Okay. And, on-site versus permitting. Okay. And then you said an annual total and something else.
So the average annual cost for that would be $207,646.
207,000.
646.
646. And that's estimating the 700 average blastings, or last year, I forget which.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's an average of 707 blastings per year.
Okay. And that's at all different levels, whether it's, I'm gonna describe them as major or minor projects, depending on the size. That incorporates all of them.
Absolutely.
Okay.
All blasting permits. Yes, ma'am.
Oh, blasting. And the numbers, the $293.70 for that permitting, is that currently what that is?
That's not what the current rate is right now. Right now, there isn't any fees. We don't
For the
charge any
permit.
fees at all, so it's zero. Yeah, we don't charge for blasting permits.
Is this the numbers that you guys have, was this standard for other jurisdictions, or how did we come up with these numbers?
Absolutely. Looking at surrounding jurisdictions and other fees that are associated with similar projects.
Okay. The permitting comes directly through you guys, or is that through planning?
Through planning.
Okay. So would ideally, and I'm not sure if you thought through some of this already, so would planning collect the fees for you and then give them to the department?
Yes, I mean,
Okay.
we haven't, if we implement it that way, yes.
Both the permitting and the on-site, or have you considered collecting those separately?
They will go hand in hand.
Okay.
So you can't have one without the other. We would need both.
Were these fees also something you were considering to give? I know with the ordinance altogether, I think you gave it to maybe the marshals at the state level to review. So the fees, were you planning on sharing that with them as well and then coming back to us?
So the fees were something that were more of an internal,
Okay.
that we did internally, and we looked at the state more so for just the substance of the ordinance, itself.
Gotcha. Do committee members have any questions or comments? Commissioner Davis Johnson?
So we're going from 0 to 207,646. And so who paid all of that money prior?
Well, it wasn't a fee associated with the blasting permit, so there wasn't a fee. There was nothing to pay.
So this money is for what?
The permitting fee is for us. We have inspectors that go out on site, and then it's just for the permitting, the processing of the permit, just like other permits that are applied for as well.
So were we eating this cost before with inspections and all of that? We were eating the cost.
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, okay. And so, yeah, so this is a good thing then. So pretty much that was my question, and I think that you talked about how much time, and if you said it was in-house, the fees, is this ready to be passed or not?
So the fee study isn't complete yet. We're working with the company, so that process hasn't completed yet. We've just submitted our recommendations to them.
So how much time do you think will be needed?
I'm not certain, ma'am, exactly how much before.
30 days.
If I may, Commissioner, two items. One, the fee study that Chief Carter is speaking to is a county initiative. And so that's part of the study was what fees may be out there that are not being collected. And to your point about what was being done, I believe part of this ordinance change would require additional on-site inspections. And so currently we do that. The fire department is on-site for many of the blasting, but that is taking that inspector away from other inspection. So I could see possibly in the future that's going to require additional staffing.
Oh, okay. And so, and so, would you say 30 days would be a good deferral?
Well, with it, I would hate to say a time frame because I'm just not sure how fast that fee study be done on the county level. I'm not sure what other departments and what phase they are with theirs. We've submitted ours, but I'm just not certain. But
And if we can get input from either COO Williams or the county attorney, what the discussion is about now is there are some recommended fees coming out of the fire department,
Yes, ma'am.
but there's also a fee study happening.
Yes, ma'am.
Are there any reservations or concerns about adopting the recommendations in the interim of waiting on that study to complete since we're not sure how long that's going to take?
No, I don't have any real concerns, but my instinct tells me that in the next 30 days, we're going to have enough from MGT so that these two would kind of catch up to each other, you know.
Okay.
Yeah,
And that's what you were just saying, in the 30 days, we could do another review?
I think so.
Okay. I'm sorry, were you finished? I didn't mean to cut you off. Were you doing?
No,
Go ahead.
okay.
I just wanted to speak to the fee issue. Commissioners, if you set the fee based on a recommendation from the fire department and then decide that the MGT study warrants another change, then you could just change it again if you elected to. Okay?
Oh, okay. Okay, so, yeah, I just wanted to say thank you for all of your hard work that you have done with this ordinance, because you've put a lot of hard work in it, and she pulled me in to do hard work on it. But we're at a good place. And so, so what I think what interim county attorney was saying, that we could pass it with the recommendation, change it later if necessary, or we could wait. So I'm going to leave that to you. What is your preference?
Okay. Well, Commissioner Messiah, did you want to weigh in as well?
Thank you so much, Madam Chair. I'm comfortable with moving forward based on the recommendations from the fire department and as Chief Carter has laid out. So to the extent that that is fine with the rest of the committee, I'm comfortable with moving forward if that's the will of everyone else.
Okay. And Attorney Phillips, with that being said, how much time do you think you guys will need in order to determine how and where this should fit?
We're already looking at that, Commissioner. We can have that ready for you for next Tuesday. Okay. We can get it to you this week. Quite frankly, I have some numbers in mind. Mr. Welch was looking, as he always does. He's there working while I'm speaking, so we have some ideas. We're going to double check it with the team, and then we'll have those numbers for you well in advance of next week. Again, fixing that number should not hold this up at all.
Okay, wonderful. Commissioner Terry, did you have any questions or comments? All right, so if you guys could, I'm not sure if you've done it already, but the numbers that you were just describing that you came up with, if you could share that information with us so we could put it into the document so we can have something kind of codified to share with the committee, with the board next week based on what we vote in just a minute. That would be extremely helpful so we can go ahead and work that in. But outside of that, if there are no other questions or comments from commissioners, do we have a motion for this item?
Yeah, I have a motion that this item be passed contingent upon receiving the information that we have requested, and then I have a comment.
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. I'm excited. Go ahead.
Yeah. And, you know, I know that a lot of constituents out there are also gratified that we have this ordinance in place because they've been concerned and they've been patient while we work through this. So I'd say once more, thank you, Commissioner Bolden, for your hard work, and I'm glad that it's passed and we can move forward on our blasting now.
All right, wonderful. That motion carries. Absolutely. It was certainly a pleasure working on this with the community, and some developers requested it as well because they're used to it in other jurisdictions, which is always a plus. All right, so moving forward.
Madam Chair.
We will jump back to page 1, item 2026-0513. This is Finance and Risk Management, all commission districts, 2026-27 healthcare benefits.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. We're going to go fairly quickly through a fairly long presentation, but before we start, I just wanted to mention that we're going into our 13th year of partnership with Buck Consulting, now Gallagher Consulting, and Gallagher has been a tremendous partner in helping us to navigate the complexities, which is the healthcare market. And today, we're going to only have two asks of the committee. One is to approve the upcoming rates that employees will pay for the healthcare benefits, and two, to approve 3 new contract vendors for 3 new benefits that we're offering to our employees. One is pet insurance. I wish Commissioner Patrick was here because that was his ask, but I want to turn it over to one of our senior principal consultants at Gallagher, and that's Brett Hayward, and he'll be followed by Nolan, who is our actuary. We could not make sense of these numbers without an actuary, so I'll turn it over to Brett.
Commissioners, how are you today?
Fine, thank you.
Good. Good to see you again. I'm assuming this is our clicker. Yep. All right, so we are not going to go through everything, but we wanted to make sure we had all the information for you should you look for some light nighttime reading. So we're going to hit an executive summary real quick. Nolan will go through the numbers for you. I'll give you a highlight on the voluntary benefits, and we threw a couple things in the appendix for you as well, which, again, you can take a look at your leisure. So executive summary, a lot of really, really good news. So medical pharmacy 2025 cost actually came in well below trends of 8% medical and 10% pharmacy. You actually came in around 3 to 4% as a plan year, so the July 1 to June plan year, and actually a little bit negative on the medical when we look at it on a calendar year basis of about minus 1.5%. Pharmacy was up a little more last year. That was due to some changes, some additions that were made to the pharmacy program back in 2024. So really good news there. The Kaiser plans and self-funded plans administered by Anthem for this upcoming plan year. When we say PYE, we mean plan year ending, which is the upcoming plan year, so July of 26 through June of 27. What we're saying here is Kaiser is coming in with a renewal of a minus 1% to your rates with no plan changes to those plans at all. And while that is a minus on the, or negative on the rates, we would continue to recommend we hold contributions flat, right? So the overall is actually going to be a slight decrease in premiums paid by the county. Employees would experience no change at all. We're projecting an 8% increase on the self-funded plans through Anthem. And then we talk about the numbers here. So medical pharmacy budget would be around $120 million. It's an increase of nearly $5 million. The county projected net cost is around $108. And we'll get into the numbers here in just a minute. The grand total for health and welfare for all plan year ending 27, so upcoming, which is everything the county pays for, medical, pharmacy, dental, life, is around $132 million, which is an increase of almost 4%. Our recommendation, again, is to continue with the many, many years of no contribution changes for employees, which is fantastic, which also includes no changes to contributions for early retirees. Enrollment has gone up a little bit across all plans. Dental rates are increasing around 3.5%. All this is baked into the numbers above. Again, no changes to contributions there. We do have some benchmarking in the back in the appendix for you to show how DeKalb kind of looks in comparison to some of your other peer groups around town, right? So Gwinnett's in there, the state plan of Georgia. I believe we have Cobb in there and Fulton as well. That's probably really about it. The bottom bullet is talking about the voluntary benefits, which we will get into in just a moment. And that's about it. So if no questions here, I'm going to let Nolan take you through a couple of the numbers so you can have a little bit better of an idea of actually what's going on within the program.
Okay, so on this page, we're showing the self-insured projections. It's on its own page because on the self-insured side, which is administered by Anthem, this is where the county actually pays the claim. So when an employee goes to see the doctor, the claim is processed to Anthem, and the county actually pays the claim. We see that for this year, due to favorable experience, we have a decrease of 4.6%, so the county is going to spend a little less than what was projected this plan year. And for next year, we're projecting an increase of 8%, which represents a $5 million increase from current budget. On the next slide, we're showing...
I want to clarify that 8% increase is from what was previously projected or from the actual?
From the actual, for what we have currently.
All right.
The top line, you can see the top line, which is DeKalb shows a total of $64.1 million. And from that $64.1 million, we're going to $69.3 million, so that they represent the 8% increase.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you.
The next line is showing everything included. So we just talked about just the self-insured. We also have a fully insured plan on the medical and pharmacy side that is administered by Kaiser. We also have the life and AD&D that the county is paying for, and also we have dental. So that all included, we are having a $133.6 million, and that's an increase of 3.8% for current. So that's everything included. On the next slide, so part of that $131 million is paid by the employees, and the employees spend about $23.8 million contributed to that 133 that we saw earlier. And that's a decrease of 0.6%. You will notice that 6% decrease, 0.6% decrease, because starting July, we're having the firefighters having the same benefit as the police officers. So they will have less contribution. The county will receive less contribution starting July 1st. This is why you see that small decrease in employee contribution over there.
I want you to say that one more time. Slow down and make it clear for the people. You doing what for the fire department?
The firefighters are having the same benefit as the police officers. So last year, the police officers were having zero contribution on the HGHP plans. So starting July 1st, the firefighters will have the same benefit.
Thank you for that, sir.
Okay. Any other question? Okay. And so the first, leaving at the last one, the employees will contribute 24 million, like we just saw, and that will be left for the county 107 million, which is a 4.8% for current. And so we're not asking to vote on this budget since it was already voted on. We're just giving you the detail of what was voted on and what's included in the budget. No question on the numbers. We go back to Brett for the voluntary benefit.
Well, at this time, we can see, because it seems that we're nearly halfway through the presentation already. Do committee members have questions so far in what was discussed?
I don't presently.
Okay. Commissioner Terry, did you have anything?
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. Just a quick question. Can you go back to the total number slide where you had the change from 2025 for the county's contribution, I think? Yeah, there it is.
Oh, okay.
And this includes this is the total, grand total, employee and county?
Yes.
Okay. So 2025, 115 million, and then 2027, so we're talking about 2027, right?
Right, yeah, the second column from the right would be the cost projection for the July 26 to June 27 plan.
Okay. And since y'all are in the business, because you work for other municipal and I guess corporate clients, this is in fact the largest cost driver in your clients' budgets?
Generally speaking.
Yeah, and it goes up every year, right?
Yep.
Could you, and you don't have to answer this now, but could you just help us understand from a macro perspective why healthcare costs go up every single year? That's just like a good global sort of understanding of demographics and the market for us to understand why there's things that are beyond our control in the market.
Absolutely.
But then two, just any research or data you have, and maybe from other clients that you've worked for, in terms of how they've innovated, in terms of you've talked about the near-side clinic. I think Director Jacobs has been looking at other sort of pharmacy kind of programs that might be for sort of higher cost medications that might have some sort of discount. And then, investment in wellness programs, for instance. So for an example, $131 million total is spent on healthcare benefits, dental, all that stuff. And then how much do we spend on wellness, comparatively in large organizations? So just any data you could provide of here's other jurisdictions and how they've been able to maybe bend the cost curve down. And you just probably have data on that. And the only one example I'll share is years ago when I was at the University of Florida, I did a little internship in my nutrition program at Gainesville, City of Gainesville government. And they kind of touted at the time, this was 2003, I think, they touted having a gym and a registered dietitian and kind of having on-site sort of wellness within the government for all employees, and basically just argued that small investment helped them sort of save costs in these other factors when it comes to actually, treating illness, whether they're acute or chronic.
Right.
So just helping us understand those numbers, and if there's any strategies you could recommend that we might consider that could help us, see that. I know it's going to keep going up. That's kind of hard based on the macro trends, but anything you see that might help us see that cost be a little bit lower than it otherwise might be.
Sure.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Yeah, I'll try not to be too lengthy, because we can go down a lot of rabbit holes here.
Well, you can come back to us, and if you could do some research and maybe share just, with the commissioners. You don't have to go into it now.
Oh, okay.
It's probably a much longer
Okay,
conversation.
very good.
Thank
We'll
you.
do that. What I will say overall is your 3.8% is actually significantly better than a lot of my other groups. So you guys are in single digits, 3.8%. That is a really strong, that's lower than trend, right? While we're projecting the medical plans with Anthem to go up by 8%, which is a combined trend, 8 and 10% on medical pharmacy, your overall spend is still well below that trend, right? When you start pulling all of it together. So this is a very strong renewal. which is why we're recommending no change to contributions for employees and retirees. So.
Thank you. Okay, and we can continue with the presentation.
Okay, these will be quick. This slide here, this is just recapping what you already have in place. So the blue text at the top highlights of current products with enhancements. So this is already in place today, these products. There are some new enhancements being added to them, which is further bringing these benefits, making them greater, making them, I guess I'd say more enhanced for all the employees that currently enrolled, as well as anyone who may decide to enroll in the future. So more money being paid out to your employees, putting more in their pockets to help offset their out-of-pocket cost, depending on the product that the benefit they may enroll in. So then this one is legal. So you've got all 4 of those already in place. What's new and what we are asking for is we're looking to add a new hospital indemnity product. Which would also be continued or added with AFLAC, which you already have. So this would just be adding a new offering through an existing vendor partner. Identity theft, which is obviously growing at rapid pace these days. And so this would be a new benefit with a new vendor partner in Allstate, which is Allstate Identity Protection. And then the pet insurance, which is a recommendation to add as a new benefit through a company called Pet Partners. So this would be 2 new vendor partners being added, Allstate and Pet Partners, but 3 overall new benefits added to the lineup for all employees. And again, this is employees. These are not offered to retirees, even early retirees. And that's just how they're filed as being insurance products. You cannot be a retiree. So any questions on any of those? I mean, I can tell you what they are. I put it here. I tried to be as quick and simple as I could about what they do. But any questions?
Is there a cost to the county to offer these?
Good point. Thank you. I should have mentioned that. There is 0 cost to the county to add these. These are all employee paid.
Okay.
It is just an employer sponsored in the sense that you're bringing these to the employees to enroll in, but it is full employee paid.
And did these come out of requests that you've heard from employees or folks making inquiries?
The pet insurance has come up from Commissioner Patrick, and then just, we've heard just randomly people might have mentioned something to Mr. Jacobs over time, but the others are more, identity theft is a big problem in the world, and so this is a product to help provide that financial coverage for people and recovery for those who might have had their identity stolen. So it's something that is very common offered in the marketplace. So it was an idea that we said, hey, maybe we should consider this. The hospital indemnity, the reason that one was chosen was more because there are a lot of hospital confinements within your population and within your utilization. So this seemed to be a very kind of no-brainer, really, to say, hey, if you are confined in the hospital, admitted to the hospital, and you are enrolled in this benefit, even for women who have childbearing ages, right? They go in the hospital, they have a child, maternity is covered, they get paid out from the benefit if they enroll, right? So that's the key, is you have to enroll in this during the annual enrollment or as a new hire or even as a qualified life event. You get married, anything happens, and you have an opportunity to re-enroll and you pick up these plans.
And the reason that I ask that is just when you have an abundance of offerings, sometimes it can be overwhelming and folks just skip over it because it's too much, especially because we don't get a whole lot of one-on-ones or trainings or conversations about who and when any individual may need or want some of these things. And I don't want to overwhelm anyone. And if it takes more effort for you guys to manage all of this, but we don't have a whole lot of participation in it, it may not be worth the effort.
Yeah, what I will say is on the current existing products that you have here, the accident, critical illness, short-term disability, and the legal plans, participation is actually pretty high.
Okay.
And so we as part of the benefits guide, as part of the online microsite that you guys have, the yourdecabbenefits.com site, there's a lot of education out there around what they are, what they do, how they can help. So we try to provide that education, albeit you do have, you've got to go out and read about it, but it's out there and it's available. But yes, I completely understand where you're going with that.
Okay. And I'd like to share with the community that Commissioner Patrick has joined us, probably just because his meeting is about to start, but thank you for coming to ERPS Committee. So can you, since he's here now, can you just share what you were saying about the additional benefits? Just the one he might care about the most.
Oh, we have pet insurance, Commissioner Patrick.
I heard my name and I heard pet insurance. I was like, wow, what a great thing. But being seriously, I think Commissioner Terry, you and I back in 21 or 22 went to the NACO meeting and they were talking about benefits that would sort of encourage employees to stay with your organization, and pet insurance was one of them. So I'm grateful to Mr. Jacobs for listening and hearing and looking out for that. That is a great idea. One question I do have, and this is, I have heard there are newer technologies or medicines that are coming out that help people with their teeth, for cavities or rebuilding their teeth, and then there's something for diabetes, type 2 diabetes. How do you guys look at newer medical procedures or technologies and ultimately have that available for our employees?
A lot of that is contingent upon the vendors and what is being, I guess I'd say added within their, what's covered, what's not. They have, as individual insurance companies, have their own medical directors that are looking at that stuff and evaluating the market, evaluating what's new, what's emerging, all of that. And they will determine whether they cover it or do not cover it.
Gotcha.
Sometimes they will allow the decision to be made at the employer level to say, do you want to opt in or out of something? And then that's when we pull in, Mr. Jacobs, and we kind of look at it, we look at your data, and we make a decision on, do we think this is going to be, a positive or a negative for the employees? Sometimes they make the decision themselves and just, this is not covered, or this is covered and we're adding it to your policy.
Right.
So it does tend to start there. On some of the other, let's say like GLP-1s on the pharmacy program, right? That is always a employer decision. Do you want to cover it? Do you not? If you do, at what level? And do you put any restrictions around it or whatever? So there's a lot of conversation that goes into that. We would pull in our pharmacist, the PBM, the pharmacy benefit manager, in this case CVS, would pull in their clinicians, and we would have some discussions. Larry would be involved in all of that, and we make decisions at that point. So there are a lot of conversations that occur.
But there is still the avenue for, as new technologies come along.
Correct.
Help out with that.
Absolutely. And gene therapies is a huge one. It's a big topic, big dollars. So yeah, we are never bored.
Okay, all right. Great to hear that. Thank you very much.
For sure.
Madam Chair, I didn't come just back for that reason. So if you have extra time you need, PWI is relatively short, so we have some flexibility.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate that. Commissioner Davis-Johnson.
With your pet insurance, I see that it is, you pay up front, then submit claims for reimbursement. And I wanted to know, is that how the average pet insurance work? Because, my dog was diagnosed with cancer, and she had to have chemo treatments, and that came to about $10,000.
Wow.
And then, so you're saying if your dog has chemo or a major illness where you would have to pay out substantial amounts of money, you would have to wait, you would have to pay that out, and then would have to get reimbursed.
That is how it works, yeah. Yes.
Well, my dog is in dog heaven now, so I probably won't get another one. But, that can be problematic with some people.
Yes. It'd be like a healthcare flexible spending account or a dependent care account or something where you pay out of pocket and then you submit for a claim and then they pay back type of thing. But yeah, that is how it works.
Okay. Any other questions or comments from commissioners? Okay. And if we could just quickly go through next steps.
Yes, so For today, it was, again, we're not asking for budget approvals, that you guys took care of that already in county budget. So it's really just to move contributions forward, so no increase to employees or early retiree contributions for the upcoming plan. Approving Kaiser rates, which is a -1%, and approving the new voluntary benefits recommendations for the upcoming plan year, which I realize I put on there twice, so apologies.
All righty, so with that, do we have a recommendation for item 2026-0513?
I make a recommendation that this item be approved.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Thank you so much. Motion carries, and thank you for keeping all of those expenses, level for our employees.
Absolutely.
No increase.
Good to see you guys again. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. And if I may borrow like 7 minutes, I think that was a yes. We will have our presentation, the operational assessment update for the ERPS departments.
Yes, I'll be as quick as possible. Hello again. We're going to get the hard copies of the ERPS committee report sent out. On the flow of this presentation is consistent with OPS. I'll go through the committee-specific insights for the departments associated with this committee, which is E911, DEMA, Human Resources and Merit Systems, Fire Rescue, the Medical Examiner's Office, and Police. For those following along that weren't in the Ops Committee today, I'm Lakeisha Sasay, Managing Principal of the Momentum Firm. Back in September, we were hired to be the change management and strategic consultants to support the implementation of the operations and performance assessment that was conducted by Malden and Jenkins. We made a promise at the start of the project to keep the board engaged early and consistently on a quarterly basis, and this is the second time we are reporting to this committee. Back in December, we published a written report, but I didn't have a chance to come and speak. So thank you for your time today. Right?
You sure it was September? It seems like you've been hanging around longer than that.
September, yes. But time is flying. We're having a lot of fun. So the agenda, let me move this closer, I'm so tall with these heels. Operational goals, I'll go over the implementation management process that we've designed and are currently implementing. I'll give a status update on the implementation of the recommendations inside of the departments associated with this committee. And then again, I'll talk about the committee-specific progress and how that is different or similar to the trends that we're seeing overall. Okay. So just a reminder that there is a strategy associated with implementing all these recommendations, and what you see on the slide are the transformation goals in which we are attempting to make progress within through implementing this series of recommendations. Some of the key results that we hope to realize throughout this process are things from, getting a year-over-year reduction in internal audit findings and open issues across departments, increasing customer satisfaction scores for service delivery, finding cost savings opportunities where some operational improvements yield those, modernizing technology and enabling data-driven government, which will result this year in which will result in 100% of departments reporting KPIs this year, which is a new thing. This matrix just reminds everyone that there's a process that we have in place to actually lay these initiatives on a timeline. We take into consideration the impact that we're attempting to achieve as well as the level of effort required. And we are focused on the top quadrant, the quick wins and the major projects. Right? This is the implementation management process that we designed and tailored for DeKalb County. We're assessing implementation progress on an ongoing basis. We're convening departments one-on-one and in groups to support them with implementation. We're identifying new transformation initiatives actually that address the root causes of some of these common challenges. We're managing the implementation through change management and then reporting quarterly to the board here and the CEO. At the bottom, you'll notice some of the things that we are tracking. Not all of these insights are in this report, but you can expect every time we come for us to be able to articulate this story a little bit better, from recommendation statuses to the reasons why things are blocked to potential cost savings. Can't wait to come back with that one. All right. I'll kind of skip through this. This is an overall dashboard view of where the county is, the 18 departments that were included in the assessment. 266 recommendations exist. 59 are currently met across the board. 11 are blocked, and oftentimes when they're listed or categorized as blocked, it's because they require some additional type of resource to implement it. And you'll see here that over 123 recommendations require some sort of additional resource. Sometimes that's management consulting support, where we're able to go in and help the departments with some of these roadblocks. All right, so now I'll move into the committee-specific updates for the departments, again, associated with ERPS that were assessed. So across the board, we have 106 total recommendations for this committee. 27 are met currently. That is an increase from December, so that's good. Steady progress is being made. 8 recommendations are recorded as blocked, and 51 are listed as requiring additional resources. Governance issues, org structure challenges, and communication problems are some of the most common challenges that these departments are working on currently. Uniquely, what's interesting here, this is a slide that shows the projected implementation timeline of the department's recommendations. And I noticed, similar to what the trend was earlier in ops, that many departments are noting that it will take time to implement their recommendations, so 2027 or beyond. But where we want to lean in after this meeting with departments one-on-one is that that last column there, the unsure or blank, where departments are saying they're not quite sure when this should be targeted for completion. So we recognize that some of those answers might be nuanced, so we'll take our time to try to identify that and have a better synthesis of that information the next time we see you. We wanted to capture the type of resources that departments are asking for assistance in beyond just funding. So you'll see here that training, cross-departmental support, in addition to funding, are representing a lion's share of what the departments are saying is required for successful implementation. Okay, and then just some quick summary insights about the departments in this committee specifically. This is a good thing. The ERPS committee departments show slightly stronger early progress than the county overall. So, the ERPS committee has a higher proportion of recommendations met compared to the others, so 25% compared to 22% countywide average. Implementation progress within these departments remain in progress for the most part. And blocked or rejected recommendations remain relatively low comparably, so that's also a good thing. On number 4 of interest, speaking and pointing to the budget, so 16 of the 24 recommendations, and actually I want to say that we made this quick update, so the page that you're looking at that's printed, it has a slightly different version. Dr. Bolton, like number 3, for example, on your written page, 86, because that was a typo, it was incorrect. So we've updated this slide, and I'll make sure you all have the right copy. But that last point says that over half of the recommendations that require funding, similar to the Ops Committee, were not approved in the FY26 budget. We also noticed something interesting in the way that departments reported for this committee is that half of the 16 recommendations that they actually required further investigation to assess cost. So we're gonna try to understand if perhaps they were not funded because the departments are still trying to understand the requirements for implementation and have not sized the cost requirement or the costs associated with implementing it. That could be one of the barriers. I wanted to try to see if we can look through the data to find any additional insights, because there was a lot of concentrated conversation on budget limits. So that was something we found that was interesting to this committee.
And that Miss Cisse, I went to high school with somebody that, but I think also the conversation that we had in the previous committee could speak to number 4 a bit,
Staffing.
not in totality. Well, regarding as a board, we didn't know that there were 16 of 24 items within the budget that specifically addressed the recommendations that you had. So we had no idea that those items were recommended and we did not approve them.
Understood.
Because there was nothing indicating to us that we were working toward those initiatives. So that may have helped if we could have better understood why the requests were being made.
Yes, absolutely. We actually had a follow-up conversation after ops with the director budget, TJ, and we are working together right now to try to, make sure that the alignment is clear on the requested items in the, this most recent budget and what was and not approved. So we should be able to produce that hopefully soon. Yes.
Go ahead, Commissioner Davis Johnson.
To follow up with what you were saying, what Commissioner Bolton was saying, I would assume that the recommendations that requires funding is what you all determined in your report to the county. But then understanding, and let me know if I'm wrong, but understanding and listening to what Zach stated earlier, I understand that you all made the recommendation for funding, but we wanted to see if there were other areas that we could explore that would not necessarily
Require
the funding.
Yes.
So I think it would have been a little premature for us to move on that without the administration first analyzing what your report is saying and to see if there's options.
Alternatives, yeah.
Alternatives to the funding, because the bottom line that the administration wants and you all are recommending is cost savings and efficiency. Is that correct?
One of the key results we're attempting to drive certainly is efficiencies and cost savings. I just wanted to clarify that neither myself, my company, the Momentum Firm, or Malden & Jenkins, who developed the assessment, made recommendations that said explicitly that these would require funding. It's through this implementation process that we ask department heads to evaluate these recommendations that Malden & Jenkins developed and let us know if they believe it requires funding. But yes, that intermediary process that you're mentioning is something that we can't implement now that you've made budget determinations and there's this delta. So did you want to?
If I could just add in one thing, Madam Chair. So something else we'll be evaluating over the next, between now and next time we meet, is whether or not there were specific requests to the budget office for funding. Because there may be many instances where they've determined we need funding or we need a position or something, but that was not translated in the budget request. So we'll be evaluating all of that and come to determinations if a department has said, we need this resource. Then we'll determine, well, is that through funding? Is that through reassigning of personnel? Is that through, you may have vacant positions that can be reclassified. That's the effort we'll be going through.
And with that said, then, can you clarify whether so it says half were not approved, and it could have been they weren't requested at all. Were these specifically in number 4 requested and not approved?
That is
were
the way the departments
recommended.
reported it, that they requested it in the FY26 budget, but it was not approved, and they provided some context in their
Okay.
responses about that as well. But I understand y'all's point about missing the context and the mapping associated with the request you saw and what was associated with the assessment. So we'll take that into account for future reporting.
Okay, yeah, this is really good for us to understand what the requests are, if there are any alternatives, and holistically, what it could look like in order to move in the direction of making the improvements, whether it's specific to the recommendation or, again, an alternative as such. Before we continue, was there any other question or comment from committee members or commissioners? Commissioner Messiah, did you have anything?
No, Madam Chair. I mean, I think it's important that as it relates to the suggestions that were made and requested budget, that as far as I can recall, with the passing of the budget, that we approved the budget as asked and requested by the administration. So to the extent that particular suggestions based on M&J's insights were a part of the budget, inclusive of those costs, to make any necessary changes, then they would have been approved from a financial standpoint as a part of the process that we went into as a Board of Commissioners. So I just wanted to make sure that it is clear that it wasn't that the board failed to, provide, a budget or to support any requests. It was apparently that it wasn't something that was suggested by the administration at that particular time. But as the process moves forward, I'm sure that we'll continue to confer with the administration, and they'll advise us of any budget amendments that may need to be made, as we have that process as well. And so, that's in terms of comments. No particular questions, and just glad that we are moving along as a government authority, and including the help of M&J to get this done. So with that, I yield back to you, Madam Chair. Thank you.
Thank you. Did you get that additional variable?
Specifically,
we'll talk about it later. Okay, go ahead.
I am tracking the importance, though, of this alignment, and we want to, be fair in the process. I know that there are a lot of things in progress, and there have been many things that the board did support approval on, and so we're going to continue to report that progress, but we will tighten up on the alignment for sure. The last thing to mention is just the March 2026 progress overall. We are gathering feedback from department heads every other month on the status of this implementation. And in the in-between months, we're engaging them either individually or through groups. So just some noteworthy things here across the board. Initial implementation timeline, costs, resources are required across the board. Many departments, not just associated with this committee, but many departments across the county were unsure of some of these areas, like the cost requirements. We mentioned that. Over 24% of recommendations across the board depend on additional funding, and that note just says that there will be a more definitive list of recommendations that can be accomplished within this year's budget versus recommendations that need to be implemented in 2027 and beyond. When I look at the data, there's a ton of initiatives that said that budgets were requested for them in their capital projects. So we understand the nuances there. But the beauty of this process is to be able to actually consolidate some of these initiatives, right? Where you see requests coming from different areas, and perhaps there's a way to, kind of bring this all up under one portfolio for funding in some instances, since we're addressing many of the same problems. So we'll try to find those, efficiencies over time. And then lastly, on what comes next, the top 3 challenge areas across the board have been governance issues, org structure challenges, and technology limitations. And so as we are, of course, working with each department individually, we're responsible for overseeing the entire program, and it's those 3 areas that we're going to be spending most of our time creating initiatives and implementing things over the next quarter. So I'll pause there to see if there's any questions. A little over 7 minutes. Sorry.
Okay. So any questions or comments from committee members? I know we asked a few during the presentation. Okay. Commissioners Patrick or Terry, did you have anything?
Nothing additional right now, Madam Chair. Thank you.
Okay. I did have one on the slide where it says combined survey insights from E911, DEMA, and all of the other departments. It's one of the earlier slides. The total recommendations was 106, but the breakdown equals 86. So recommendations met, 27, recommendations blocked, 8, and recommendations requiring resources is 51. So the other 20, where do those fall?
That's a good question. I need to go back and do some research, and then I'll be able to answer that effectively. We have one of our management consultants here with some back-end ability. We'll present in PWI. I may be able to get that answer today. If not, I'll certainly follow up. But thanks for that call out. We'll go back and double check those numbers.
Okay, and I think that was it for me. Let me make sure. Okay, yes, that was it for me. So if there are no other questions or comments from commissioners, thank you, Ms. Cisse, for your presentation.
Thank you.
We look forward to the next update, and we appreciate you consistently bringing us information and allowing us opportunity to share from our position what we think would help.
Absolutely.
For us to make better decisions with supporting the county. So with that, do we have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. And thank you, for Commissioner Patrick, for your extra time.